I'll explain the fundamentals of this build first, and then afterwards show why it's so effective and what it does, and why I think that it's on par with Sunbracers and being the best Warlock build in the game for ad clear and general play. I've used it in pretty much any activity that's PvE related, and it has had great results, and especially in Pantheon, it's my go-to build now. I don't really want to run anything else because this is just too effective. So starting out, the thing that makes this all work is Ember of Combustion, the fragment that makes Solar Super final blows, causing targets to ignite. And the reason that this is important is because when you're in your own well, it considers any solar weapon damage as super damage. Well, it considers all your weapon damage as super damage, but if you're running a solar weapon, it triggers the effect of that fragment. So any kill with your solar weapons when you're standing in your own well will make the targets ignite. And Ignition's probably the best ad clear subclass verb in the game because of how they spread. The amount of damage that they can do is kind of unmatched with any other subclass and element. And so, because we can trigger them so frequently by how easy it is, this is why this build is so good. So Sunshot, as you can see by the kills that I have on it, is the go-to gun for me. Because it's an exotic primary, it does so much base damage. It kill chains with its explosions, and I don't really understand the interaction too much between the ignitions themselves and triggering more Sunshot explosions, because it technically counts it as super damage. But I've noticed too many explosions for it to just be ignitions and vice versa. So Sunshot is probably the best pick I would recommend. But you can use other things. I like Polaris for stuff, for things more like GMs, where you're not getting as many kills, but you're still taking advantage of the ignitions, because it can trigger ignitions by itself without kills. And then if I'm running a legendary, just pretty much anything with incandescent, I like this Luna's just because I don't want to reload. But you can use something that takes advantage of a ability perk in the third column if you want to, but you don't really need your other abilities. They're kind of just for niche case scenarios, or snap and your grenade. As far as heavies go, I usually run my Apex because it's solar, it's good damage, and for healthier targets, for beefier targets, you can get kills with it as well, and because it's solar in your well, it'll trigger the ignitions as well. Some honorable mentions is obviously Dragon's Breath, because it just creates so many ignitions by itself. It benefits from the fragments that you use. And then something even like 1k, because it can trigger a guaranteed ignition off of a single shot that's spreading it. As far as primaries go, I usually just switch off between these two. This is more so if I don't need to worry about champions, just for nice bursts, high damage, and then this is for champions if you need to. So the other fragments that we use, these are kind of the four main important fragments to allow this build to work, and these three especially allow them to spread each other. So Scorch, more Scorch stacks, or Ashes. Eruption makes them have bigger area of effect, that's always nice, and then this makes them spread Scorch, the ignitions do, which allows them to chain off of each other. So in a lot of the clips that I'll be showing, you'll see something ignite and then ignite the thing next to it, and then so on and so forth, and it's chain reaction, and that's where all this insane damage comes from. So naturally, because we want our well up as much as possible, we use Phoenix Protocol. And the only real problem that this build has is being forced to stay in your well, which isn't really a bad thing, because who wouldn't want to stand in a well? And because of the hard cap that Phoenix gives you for your super regen, you'll have about a third of your super to get back without being in the well. And so there's ways to circumvent that. Hopefully your teammates are making orbs in this day and age of Destiny. Why wouldn't they be? So if we look at our mods, that's kind of why I run two powerful attractions now, just because it's nice to have something like Phoenix Dive, where you can just dive around orbs to pick them up quickly to get your super back. I use two solar weapon surges just to make Sunshot get kills easier, and having a scavenger is always nice. I run triple reserves because I don't really feel the need to run resists, because I'm in a well all the time. We'll see if this changes with the final shape, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem, because I don't really ever run resists. And I mean, if something kills you in a well, then resists probably wouldn't have saved you anyways. I run 2 harmonic loaders because you need to reload a lot in order to get kills with your sunshot. So I find myself reloading a lot, and then kind of the trifecta of helmet mods of 1 siphon, and then a heavy ammo finder, and then a scout if you want to be nice. You can switch this around for something else if you want bigger orbs for yourself, if you're like solo playing or something. But yeah, and so for stat split wise, you don't really need recovery because you're always in your well. Discipline is kind of a stat that you use because you don't really know what else to use. The main things to prioritize are resilience and intellect. I would say you can either choose discipline or strength depending on your preference. I just run beefy healing nades because I don't really know what else to run. And snap is just kind of a panic tool to start ignitions if you need to for close enemies. So it's nice for crowd control if you plop your well down in the middle of a bunch of ads and then you just want to snap and ignite them all without needing to worry about getting a solar weapon kill. So yeah, that's pretty much the build. Enjoy some of the gameplay that I've recorded from onslaughts and other things. Like I said, this thing not really getting changed in the final shape. Sunshot's getting a slight nerf, obviously Well's getting nerfed, but the gameplay loop itself isn't going to change. So have at it. This build almost kind of ruins your fun because of how good it is. You'll feel like all the other builds that you want to run aren't as effective as it, except for maybe Sunbracers. So just, I guess, warning there, but yeah, hope you enjoy it.